First off, I'd like to thank these amazing people who decided to support me directly and make my work here on the platform so much easier. And remember, if you also want to help me out, the missile knows where the join button is at all times. Hello pilots, welcome back. How have your battles been? Mine have been going well. Today, I'm flying the classic Su-27. This video is basically an update on the plane's overall performance in Air RB matches. And well, you guys know, especially those who've been following me for a while, that the Su-27 does have some electronic weaknesses, mainly the radar and the RWR. But all of that is manageable, especially if you've got some skill in picking the right role in the middle of the battlefield. Once you really understand the plane, it turns into a tool for massive frags. It does fine against 14.3 or 14.0 planes, and in down tiers, my friend, this thing is a beast. As the video goes on, you'll notice this plane is almost the same as before, but even more consistent. The decompression did it good, maybe a little too good. Even though it's at 13.7, it performs way better than other 13.7 planes like the Gripen or the F-16 C Block 50. That means that even though top BRs have gone up, it's still not enough. We need 14.7, we need 15.0, and only God knows where this is going to stop. And that's just considering what we've got right now. If they add more stuff performing like the Rafale, the planes below will end up forgotten all over again. Now that we're done with the plane and video context, let's move on to positioning. I'm flying close to my team. My radar isn't the best, but it's enough for me to see where the enemies are, which lets me make more precise moves against them. Flankers are basically perfect for high-altitude flying. It doesn't have the tightest turns right now, but you can stay fast even after a bunch of aggressive defensive moves in a row. That gives me room to take risks and play aggressive before the furball forms. Maybe even get better. I'm not trying to get frags yet. That could happen though. For now, I'm just bait trying to set up a play. See how I read the enemy rotation and help steer where the furball should go. Now some people can already see from my spot what's possible to do. I purposely picked this match to show you first that this isn't normal. First, the plane just crushes anyone without Fox 3s. Second, it also has to do with the way players in this bracket usually play. If you keep acting like a herd, a player like me will show up and take out everyone at once. Now moving on to the second match, which should be a bit more interesting. The other team didn't mess up enough for the match to last just 2 minutes. I'm already starting with a big defensive circle because I'm not about to die to any Fakur. A lot of people think this missile is super strong, but it's actually one of the easiest missiles to deal with. You just literally have to want to not get taken out by it. The simple ways range from big defensive circles to early notching. If you let this missile get into pitbull on you while flying supersonic and high, that's on you. You chose to take that risk. You didn't give the missile any respect, huh? No weapon is weak enough to be disrespected. Back to the match. I think I pulled off a good enough defense and I'm not late to the action. There's already some people in the middle, but nothing close to a furball, so it's still rush time. Here, the key is not to turn to the 9M. Believe it or not, on some planes, it's easier to dodge a non-frontal aspect than a frontal one, and the flanker is one of those planes. That's it. Another match where being in the right position lets you do almost unimaginable things. Now it's just a matter of going after the last target. Even though I only have IR missiles, I've still got plenty of countermeasures and fuel for a 1 versus 1. Before I start giving the instructions I sometimes drop during the match, you might notice a difference in the video's tone. While I was recording with this plane, I got my new monitor and had to test new filters and stuff, so it was easier to fix them later. This match also fit perfectly in the middle of the video because of the quality of the gameplay itself. In short, I have a strong impression that people play way better on this map because they seem to understand their plane's role more, and especially because they have a better sense of positioning. Though nothing's perfect, this match went extremely well for me. I believe I made the best decisions I could from my perspective at each moment. Here I followed the standard positioning between defensive and passive. Since the enemies spread out well across the map, the action started early. Even though they spread out well at the start, no enemy played recklessly. They started rotating defensively on their side of the map, so I can't just fly straight over there instantly. See how life is? In this bracket, like I've explained, people tend to herd a lot and also like to play simpler in multi-pathing. If no one watches the high altitudes, I'll keep running full storms and farming huge amounts of frags with almost no punishment. Now there's only one enemy left. If people thought about climbing a bit more, maybe it would be different, and I'd still need to take out 1 or 4 planes. Now the guy's alone, and even with low fuel and few missiles, I'm gonna risk going after him. Look at the guy over there. He thinks he's safe landing. Let's see if it's luck or bad karma. Jokes aside, this was really precise timing. I think he literally had his finger on the eject button. Poor guy. Let's pray for the state of his mental health. I know the game isn't perfectly balanced yet, and that more decompression is needed before we can say there's a satisfying balance. But I also believe the flanker's performance can't be credited just to the plane being good. What you saw in this video also has to do with the average player's gameplay in this bracket. You can clearly see people who don't know what to do with their own plane or lack enough experience, which makes what you can do even more impactful and consistently so. If you do everything right, the flanker has such a vast arsenal that it's almost impossible not to get like 3 kills in an average run. And that's how the video goes. Notice how everything is so predictable and standardized. It's almost like seeing a storm on the horizon. You know destruction is knocking at the door. Now I'm going to stretch a bit, because keeping the integrity of a big plane like a flanker, especially near a hornet's nest like this, is really tough. Being well positioned all the time is super important. I didn't get it. Maybe the guy's internet went down. Either way, it was a free frag. I was hoping for a good dogfight for you to watch, but War Thunder doesn't always go the way we want. Alright guys, since this was an update video about the plane situation, there's not much to say, especially for a plane I've already covered extensively on the channel. Here's my last match, which will be my first loss, where I'm literally playing with almost no team. Still, it's a match worth watching. And of course, as always, I'm keeping this for those who like to watch without any interruptions or voice in the background. Stick with me until the end, where I'll say goodbye. Alright folks, that's all for today. Hope you liked it. Do you agree or disagree with anything I said? Tell me down in the comments. Your feedback is super important to me. The video ends, but the chat stays. Karma out.